So I thought, this is dumb. And so the Army has a trip flare. They may still have it. It's a thing about so big that throws a flare into the air with a parachute. And it has wires that go out that if you walk through there and don't know they're there, or whether you know they're there or not, you're going to trip those flares, flare wires. And so I called into we had little radios, and I called into the CP and got a trip flare set out. And I spent about a half the afternoon rigging that up with the wires very carefully. I measured off to how far I could throw a grenade. So that night it got dark, and finally, in the night you can imagine anything. It's spooky, and I could hear all the woods creatures make extra loud noises, it seemed like at night. But anyway, all of a sudden I heard that trip flare go off. Like it goes boom when it fires, but there's nothing, it's on the way up. And I had laid the grenades out on the top of the foxhole, spread the pins back so they would pull easy, and I laid down a barrage. Whomp, 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 right out in the middle of it all. The flare went up, went off, nobody in the area. And this is a red alert situation. Everybody is nervous. The war's about over. You don't want to be the last guy killed in the war. And the war is about over, and so when they saw the flare and heard the grenades, they thought, we're being attacked. We had a firefight the night before. They're back again, Then I had ducked down because you get shrapnel back at you too. And I had laid up probably 4 grenades out there, and they all blew. And then I looked out to see, and there was a rabbit that had got into the trip wires and tripped that flare. And I didn't even get the rabbit, so the grenades go out this way. The rabbit got away. But then the phone rang, and the company commander calls out and said, "Lindy, what's going on out there?" And you're not going to tell your company commander and the thousands of guys up and down the river that you just threw 4 grenades at a rabbit. And I had to think fast. I thought, I can't tell him I just threw grenades at a rabbit, put the whole sector on alert over a rabbit. And I came up with one of the best answers I probably ever could have given. I said, "Sir, we have a malfunction of equipment out here." And I got off, or they'd still be, most people don't even know the story, they'd still be writing me about this. In a few days, the war was over, and one of the most beautiful mornings, May mornings that ever existed, we were told that we could pull out and head back. We were infantry. I got to thinking later, they could have come with trucks and taken us. Guess how we got out of there? We walked out. Never thought about it. We were so used to that. And I had to stay then. I didn't have points enough to go home. The war was over. We did occupation duty. I went into the cavalry, and I was a 19-year-old first sergeant. They put me in charge of 150 men, and I at 19, and got along fine with them. Stayed for almost a year, and we had a point system then. And finally, my points came up. I wasn't married, of course. Came back home, took a troop ship back home, came to New Brunswick, New Jersey, Camp Kilmer to Chicago, and was discharged there at Snelling, I think it was, and came home on Rock Island Rocket to Atlantic, Iowa. My sisters were waiting there, and guess who was there with them? Was the little freshman girl who was, we will celebrate, the good Lord willing, our 60th anniversary this July. Love and war. Probably that freedom comes at a price. It's not cheap. And there's a lot of American blood been shed. Somebody asks me almost every time, one of the kids will say, "Did you kill anybody?" And I say, that's private. I don't discuss that with you. But our freedom in our country, we take for granted, but it has come at an awful price. We lost so many thousand men. Our company turned over 3 times. Now that'd be 150 men, and the total casualties, killed in action, wounded in action, missing in action, would be about 450. A lot of Purple Hearts. I have the Bronze Star Medal. It goes with my combat infantry badge. I have 3 major campaigns, the Ardennes, Rhineland they called it, and then Central Europe, where we met the Russians. Meeting the Russians was a great experience. The Cossacks came after a few days. The Russians like to put on a show, and they arrived with their horses and in full beautiful uniforms. They weren't combat troops. Most of the combat troops looked like we did, which was dirty and in need of a bath. And it was quite a show they put on for us. They rode their horses around over there on the other side of the Elbe River. So Country Boy saw a lot of things he had never seen before. But freedom doesn't come cheap. It's going to cost, always has.